But that peace was a lie. In a matter of minutes, the serene landscape had erupted into a cage of death. The compound they had taken for cover was being systematically torn apart, one concrete chunk at a time. Dust and cordite filled the air, making every breath a struggle. A mortar round slammed into the far wall, sending a shower of shrapnel and debris across their position. Jake ducked, feeling the sting of small fragments hitting his helmet. Petty Officer Brooks was on the ground, a makeshift tourniquet high on his leg, but the bleeding wouldn't stop. His face was pale, his breathing shallow. Jake knew, with a sickening certainty, that they were just minutes away from being completely overrun. Their perimeter was shrinking, their firepower was fading, and hope was the scarcest commodity they had. Meanwhile, back at Forward Operating Base Ranger, A-10 pilot Captain Maria Iron Angel Alvarez was officially off duty. She was supposed to be in the mess hall, grabbing a hot meal before turning in. But the chatter over the comms network caught her ear fragmented. Desperate plea from a team-designated Viper 1. The details came in pieces, trapped, surrounded, beyond range of standard support assets. Her heart sank. The official response from command was exactly what she expected. Negative. Mission denied. Too risky. Too far. But Maria didn't hesitate. She strode out of the briefing room and headed straight for the flight line. Her jaw set. This mission wasn't sanctioned. There would be zero escort, no fighter jets to watch her 6. There was zero official support, meaning if she got into trouble, she was on her own. The intel confirmed a high probability of anti-aircraft artillery in the area. A death sentence for a low-flying A-10. Yet, she walked up to her Warthog and ordered a full combat loadout. Rockets, Mavericks, and a full drum for the Avenger cannon. Her crew chief, a man who'd known her for years, ran to catch up. His face a mask of disbelief. "Captain, what are you doing? This is an unsanctioned flight. You'll lose your career. You could go to prison." Maria just climbed into the cockpit, her eyes fixed forward. She looked at him and said only one thing. "Fuel me too, Max." The twin engines of the A-10 Thunderbolt, affectionately known as the Warthog, roared to life, a guttural growl that promised violence. Moments later, it thundered down the runway and leaped into the sky. But Maria didn't climb high. She stayed low, dangerously low, hugging the terrain at tree level to stay under enemy radar. The onboard computer systems screamed at her, a chorus of digital warnings flashing across her displays. Outside operational zone, low fuel margin, multiple AAA threats confirmed. She silenced them with a flick of a switch. Every warning was a voice of reason she chose to ignore. Because for Maria, this was personal. She had already lost a SEAL, her own brother, 2 years earlier on a mission that went sideways. The pain of that loss was a fire that still burned inside her, a promise she had made to herself that she would never let it happen again. Not on her watch. Not today. The stick felt like an extension of her own arm as she pushed the Warthog faster. Flying on pure instinct and rage, a lone Avenger, streaking toward a battle she was never supposed to fight. Flying on fumes and faith, Maria finally got a lock on Viper 1's position. She keyed her mic, her voice calm and steady, despite the chaos she was flying into. "Viper 1, this is Hog 21. I'm your angel. ETA, 9 minutes. Hang on." On the ground, Jake Torres heard her voice cut through the static, and he almost collapsed in relief. Scrubbed the radio, his own voice cracking. Hog21, you're a ghost. We thought we were done for. We're marked by IR strobe on the northern roof. As Maria crested the final ridge, the battlefield exploded into view below her. It was worse than she imagined. Hundreds of fighters swarming the compound like angry ants. She could see the muzzle flashes from every direction. Without a second to waste, she lined up her first gun run, targeting the mortar team on the eastern ridge that was bracketing the SEAL's position. She squeezed the trigger. The legendary 30mm Avenger cannon erupted, a sound like the sky itself was being torn in half. A torrent of armor-piercing incendiary rounds, each the size of a beer bottle, slammed into the mortar pit. The ground shook violently. The entire position was simply erased from the earth in a cloud of dirt and fire. On the ground, the insurgents who witnessed it froze, then scattered in pure terror. The angel of death had arrived. With the mortar silenced, the SEALs had a moment to breathe, a precious few seconds to redistribute ammo and check on their wounded. But the fight was far from over. Maria banked hard, her eyes scanning for the next biggest threat. She spotted it on the western side, a fortified heavy machine gun nest that was pinning down half of Jake's team. She rolled in for her next pass. This time she selected her Hydra rockets. With a whoosh, a ripple of rockets streaked from the pods under her wings, blanketing the nest in a series of earth-shattering explosions. The machine gun went silent. But as she pulled up from the attack, her threat receiver screamed a high-pitched, terrifying tone. A lock. A Soviet-made Ju-23-4 Shilka, a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun hidden in the rocks, had painted her. A storm of red tracer rounds ripped through the air, flashing past her canopy, so close she could feel the heat. She reacted on pure instinct. She dumped a cloud of flares to confuse the missile, rolled hard right, and dove for the ground, pulling G's that threatened to make her black out. But this wasn't just evasion. It was a setup. At the last second, she inverted the plane, flying upside down, and came straight down on the AAA position like a hawk diving on its prey. Her thumb found the trigger again. The Shilka, the deadliest threat to her on the battlefield, died in a brilliant fireball of twisted metal and flame. Down on the ground, the SEALs watched in awe. Jake keyed his radio. Hog21, you're a damn artist. Maria's fuel light blinked from green to amber. Bingo fuel. She was nearly out, with barely enough to make it back to base, let alone fight. But looking down, she saw the SEALs were still trapped. They needed one more window, one more chance to get out of the kill zone. She keyed her mic, her voice low and urgent. Viper 1, this is my last pass. I'm almost empty. I'm going to lay down a wall of fire on the south ridge. Move on my mark. Go, go, go. Maria pushed the stick forward, diving lower than she ever had before. She unleashed the Avenger one final glorious time, strafing the entire ridgeline and kicking up a massive dust storm. The cloud of dirt and debris created a perfect screen, hiding the SEALs as they grabbed Brooks and sprinted out of the compound, moving toward a safer extraction point. A few enemy fighters, brave or foolish, tried to give chase through the dust. But Maria had one last gift for them. She dropped her final rocket salvo right between the SEALs and their pursuers. The chase ended instantly in a blast of fire and shrapnel. As Viper 1 scrambled to safety, Jake got on the radio one last time. His voice was thick with emotion. Hog21. Maria, thank you. We owe you our lives. From the cockpit of her battered A-10, Maria managed a small, tired smile. Just buy me a beer someday, Lieutenant. She turned her plane for home. When she finally touched down back at Fob Ranger, the ground crew confirmed she had landed with less than 2 minutes of fuel remaining. Her fuselage was peppered with shrapnel and a few bullet hole scars from her dance with the Shilka. 2 days later, the door to the officers' mess hall swung open. Captain Alvarez looked up from her meal to see the entire SEAL Team Viper 1 walk in. Petty Officer Brooks was on crutches, but he was smiling. They were all alive. Jake Torres walked straight to her table, a silent look of profound gratitude on his face. She gently set a cold bottle of beer in front of her. One beer. As promised, he said, his voice quiet but clear. "We have a new saying in the teams now. If you're ever trapped, out of ammo, and beyond range, you pray for the angel." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more incredible tales of bravery.